She thought she was just covering for her sister on a wedding day, but ended up married to a billionaire who wasn't as blind as he seemed. Elena Carter was forced into a lie, but what started as a cruel trick turned into a love so powerful it shattered every secret. Just when she was ready to walk away, he did the unthinkable to win her back. Who really betrayed who? And can love born in deception survive the truth? Watch until the end to find out. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment and don't forget to subscribe for more unforgettable stories. At last, Elena Carter's phone finally buzzed. Her fingers trembled as she picked it up, the tightness in her chest making it hard to breathe. "Where are you, Veronica?" she whispered into the phone. "The ceremony's starting in 15 minutes. Julian's waiting. Everyone's inside. I'm standing outside the church like an idiot." She tried to keep her voice steady, but panic bled through each syllable. On the other end, Veronica's voice came soft but shaking. "I'm sorry, Ellie. I can't do it." Elena froze. "What do you mean you can't do it? You're getting married today. This is your wedding, Veronica." "No, it's not. It never was," Veronica said, voice breaking. "I only ever dated Julian because of his money. He paid for my tuition, for Darren's too. Darren just pretended to be my gay best friend so no one would find out we were a couple. I used Julian. I lied to him. And I can't do it anymore. I'm leaving with Darren. We're flying to Italy tonight." Elena's heart sank, her fingers clenched around the phone. "Veronica, you can't do this to him. He's blind. He loves you. He's in there right now waiting to marry you. This is cruel." "I know," her sister choked out, "but I can't keep living a lie. You'll have to explain it to everyone. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you." The call ended. Elena stood frozen, surrounded by the joyful sound of church bells in the distance. She was still trying to process the betrayal when a black luxury car pulled up to the curb in front of her. The back door opened, and a woman in an elegant cream suit stepped out. "Elena Carter?" the woman asked. "Yes," Helena replied warily. "Get in." Before she could react, another woman, slightly younger, sharply dressed, grabbed her arm and ushered her inside. The door shut behind her, and the car peeled away from the curb. "What is going on?" Elena gasped. She recognized the older woman instantly, Mrs. Olivia Hayes, the groom's mother. "You look exactly like her," Mrs. Hayes said, her eyes scanning Elena's face. "You sound like her too. Same height, same build. This might work." Elena's confusion twisted into fear. "Work for what?" "You're going to marry my son," the woman said matter-of-factly. Elena blinked, convinced she misheard. "Excuse me?" "You're going to put on a wedding dress, walk down the aisle, and take Veronica's place. My son doesn't know she's left. He's blind. They'll never notice the difference. And if you don't do it, if you so much as try to run, I'll destroy your sister's life. I'll have them arrested before they reach the airport. Fraud, theft, betrayal. It won't be hard." Elena's pulse thundered in her ears. "Why are you doing this?" "Because Julian needs this wedding to happen," Olivia said coldly. "He promised he'd go through with a surgery to restore his sight only if he married her. He's lost hope before, because of her. But he still loves her. I can't let him give up again. He was in a car accident 2 years ago chasing after her during a fight. That's when he lost his sight. If this wedding doesn't happen today, I'm afraid he'll never agree to the surgery again. I won't risk my son's future or our company's legacy because of your sister's selfishness." "But I don't even know Julian. I've never even spoken to him." "Then stay quiet at the altar," Olivia snapped. "You don't have to speak much. Just smile, nod, say I do. Keep the veil on. He won't notice." Elena felt the tears build in her eyes. "Please, I can't. This isn't right." "Neither is what your sister did to my son," Olivia replied. "But I'm willing to forgive it if you help me. I'll even reward you. Money, a fresh start. Just help Julian get through this." The car pulled up outside a boutique. The door opened. Elena sat frozen, trapped between fear for her sister and her own moral compass. Then Olivia leaned in closer, her voice soft for the first time. "You're not hurting anyone, just helping a man take the next step toward healing. He'll never know. And once he sees again, we'll annul it. You'll be free." Elena stared at the boutique door. Her hands trembled as she stepped out of the car, and with every step she took, she felt the weight of 1,000 regrets pressing on her shoulders. The boutique smelled like roses and silk. Elena stood in the center of a dressing room surrounded by mirrors, her reflection fractured into 100 versions of herself, all wearing the same ivory gown. The sales assistant tightened the corset, and Mrs. Hayes examined her critically from behind, arms folded. "It's a perfect fit," the older woman finally said, as if sealing a deal. Elena's stomach twisted. She had said nothing since stepping into the boutique, her mind still reeling. Her body moved like a puppet as the veil was draped over her head, its sheer fabric muting the world around her. Within the hour, they returned to the church. No one in the pews knew the bride had changed. The music swelled. Elena stood behind the heavy wooden doors, her hands ice-cold around the bouquet. Her heart beat against her ribcage like it wanted to escape. When the wedding coordinator gave the signal, the doors opened and sunlight poured in. Every step down the aisle felt heavier than the last. She kept her chin lowered, the veil hiding her trembling lips and watery eyes. On either side of her, guests smiled, completely unaware. At the altar, Julian stood still, dignified in a charcoal suit, his white cane tucked under his arm. He looked exactly like the photos she'd seen. Tall, lean, dark hair swept back in soft waves, his features sharp and handsome, eyes unfocused behind his tinted glasses. As she reached him, he turned slightly. "You're here," he said, his voice low and reverent. "For a moment I thought maybe you'd changed your mind." Elena fought the urge to cry. "Of course I came," she whispered, imitating Veronica's tone. "I've been waiting for this day." His expression softened. "Thank you for choosing me. I know I'm not perfect, but I'll spend every day proving I'm worthy of your love." Her throat tightened as the priest began the ceremony. She said, "I do," with a voice she didn't recognize. When Julian gently lifted her veil, Elena forgot to breathe. Though blind, he stared as though he could still see her. He reached forward and cupped her cheek, his touch so warm, so gentle, it made her eyes sting. "You smell like vanilla and rain," he murmured. "You've always smelled like that." She wanted to look away, but something in his voice rooted her in place. Then came the kiss. His lips brushed hers tenderly, slowly, as though he was memorizing every detail. Elena remained still, overwhelmed by emotion, the applause ringing in her ears like distant thunder. Her first kiss, and it was with a man who didn't even know who she was. Later, after the photos and pleasantries, they were whisked away to a limousine and driven toward the mansion she'd only seen in magazines. Julian leaned his head back against the seat, smiling in her direction. "I always imagined our wedding day," he said. "Even after the accident, I kept hoping I'd get to stand at the altar with you. That dream kept me going." Elena turned to him slowly, unsure how to respond. "I'm glad you held on," she whispered. The mansion took her breath away. Grand pillars, endless windows, and a garden so precisely trimmed it felt unreal. "I had the architects design this place for us," Julian said proudly. "I wanted it to be a home where you'd feel safe and where our future children would grow up happy." Elena laughed nervously. "Children?" "Yeah, 6, he said, as if announcing a new business project. "Not all at once, of course, but I've always dreamed of a big family." She swallowed. "That's a lot of diapers." He grinned. "We'll make it fun. I'll help. And once I get my sight back, we'll travel anywhere you want. Beaches, mountains, the whole world." His optimism made her chest ache. That night, in the master bedroom, Elena stood stiff in front of a vanity, staring at the red lace lingerie laid on the bed. She reached for it hesitantly, unsure what she was more afraid of, being seen or being loved. Julian emerged from the bathroom in a towel, his sculpted torso still damp. "You should shower first," he said warmly. "I can wait." Elena nodded, voice lost, and escaped into the bathroom. Under the stream of hot water, she tried to wash away the guilt, the fear, the lies. But when she stepped out, wearing the red lace and nerves, Julian didn't laugh or leer. He simply opened the blanket and patted the bed beside him. "Come rest," he said gently. "It's been a long day, and I just want to hold my wife." She crawled under the covers. He wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. "You're everything I ever wanted," he whispered. Elena's heart twisted. He didn't know who she really was. But in that moment, she wished she could be the woman he believed in. The morning light filtered softly through the sheer bedroom curtains, casting golden stripes across the bed where Elena lay with her eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Julian's arm was draped across her waist, his breathing steady, peaceful. She had barely slept, her mind spinning with guilt and confusion. How was it possible to feel safe in the arms of someone you were deceiving? Julian stirred beside her and leaned in, placing a feather-like kiss on her shoulder. "Good morning, my wife," he said with a sleepy smile. "Did you sleep okay?" She forced a smile. "Yeah, I did." He sat up and reached for his cane. "I'll make breakfast." "You'll cook?" Elena asked, surprised. "Of course, I'm blind, not useless," he said with a playful grin. "Stay in bed, I want to spoil you." Before she could argue, he was already heading to the kitchen. Elena waited a few moments, then slipped on a robe and padded out behind him. But when she arrived, Julian was already bustling around the space with the ease of a man who had done this 100 times before, opening drawers without hesitation, turning on the stove, cracking eggs, even flipping pancakes. It was mesmerizing and terrifying. She tried to brush it off. Maybe he had memorized the layout, maybe he practiced, but something about how smooth it all was made her stomach twist. Later that day, Julian suggested they visit his company headquarters. "I haven't been back since the accident," he said as he guided her to the car. "But I want them to meet you. You're my wife now. I want to show you off." She tensed. "I'm not sure I'm ready for that." He gently squeezed her hand. "You'll be fine. Just be yourself." That was the problem. She wasn't herself. She was playing a role, and the guilt only tightened the further they drove. The Davis and Hayes Tech Tower loomed ahead, sleek glass and steel gleaming under the sun. When they arrived, a flamboyant man with perfectly styled hair rushed toward them. "Julian, my boss, my legend, my blind beauty, and you," he turned to Elena with a bright smile, "must be the mysterious wife we've all heard about." "This is Bernie," Julian said, "my assistant therapist, unofficial therapist, and chaos coordinator." Elena smiled politely, unsure what else to say. Bernie looped an arm through hers. "Darling, if you ever get bored of this one, you call me. I'm single, flexible, and not afraid of commitment." Julian laughed while Elena flushed, grateful for the distraction. They toured the office, greeted by friendly staff who seemed to genuinely adore Julian. The respect he commanded was effortless, born not from fear, but from loyalty. He'd built this company with his brains and heart, and it showed. Elena's admiration deepened, and so did her dread. After the visit, they stopped at a small beach cafe. Julian chose the table facing the ocean, though he couldn't see the view. "Describe it to me," he asked softly. Elena did. She described the waves curling like silver ribbon, the way the light danced on the water, the gulls swooping overhead. His face lit up as he listened. Then he reached across the table and took her hand. "I want to see it all one day, with you." She blinked back tears. "Do you still plan to do the surgery soon?" He nodded. "Next week, hopefully. My doctor's finally back from his trip. I'm ready." Her heart squeezed. Once he could see, everything would be over. He'd look into her face and realize she wasn't Veronica. She didn't know if that would be the end or a chance for something real. That night, after dinner and small talk, Elena found herself sitting by the fireplace, scrolling through her phone. Out of curiosity, or maybe something deeper, she looked up Julian Hayes. Dozens of articles popped up. Youngest billionaire in the industry, self-made, a genius, a philanthropist. She paused at one headline: "Julian Hayes funds heart surgeries for 150 children." Another: "Julian Hayes donates $10 to cancer research." She set the phone down, overcome. This man wasn't just kind to her, he was kind to everyone, and he didn't deserve this. But when he returned to the room and knelt in front of her, resting his head on her lap and whispering, "Thank you for choosing me," all Elena could do was bury her fingers in his hair and say, "You're welcome." Even if it was a lie, even if it was tearing her apart. The sound of the waves rolled gently against the shore outside the beach house. But inside, Elena's mind was anything but calm. She lay awake, tangled in cool white sheets beside Julian, listening to his steady breathing. Their vacation had been perfect on the surface. Sunlit walks, quiet laughter, kisses that felt too real to fake. But guilt kept digging at her chest like a blade slowly twisting. She had done the unthinkable. Fallen in love with a man who thought she was someone else. Unable to sleep, she slipped out of bed and padded down the hallway barefoot, drawn toward the soft glow coming from the kitchen. But what she saw made her freeze. Julian was standing at the stove, phone cradled between his shoulder and ear, casually stirring a pan of eggs. No cane, no hesitation. Every movement was precise, efficient, sighted. Elena's breath caught. I'm not ready to tell her yet. Julian said into the phone, unaware of her presence. Maybe next week. I don't want her to run. I need her to understand I never meant to lie. I didn't know she was Elena at first, but I do now, and I love her. Elena stumbled back, accidentally bumping into a chair. Julian turned sharply toward the sound. Their eyes locked, no glasses now, just clear hazel eyes that widened in panic. Elena. Wait. Her voice came out strangled. You're not blind. He dropped the spoon and stepped toward her. I can explain. You can't explain? She laughed bitterly, tears rushing into her eyes. You stood in front of me every single day pretending to need my help, pretending to be someone vulnerable. All this time I thought I was the one deceiving you. But no, you were watching me lie to your face. I didn't know it was you at first, Julian said, desperate. I was going to expose Veronica at the altar, but she never showed. Then you walked in, and I knew you weren't her, but I couldn't stop myself. Why didn't you say something the moment you figured it out? Because I fell in love with you, he said plainly. And I knew the moment I told you the truth, I'd lose you. You never even gave me the chance to make that decision, she shouted. You manipulated me just like your mother did. I was angry, yes. I wanted revenge on Veronica. She ruined me, Elena. But the second I saw you, really saw you, I forgot all of that. I saw someone real, someone kind, someone who made my home feel like home again. She stepped back, shaking her head. You still lied. You watched me strip away my pride, my honesty, every part of who I was. For what? So you could see if I was better than your ex? No, he said softly. So I could see if love was possible again. She stared at him, tears brimming. What about last night? Was that all part of your little experiment too? Julian's face fell. No, that was real. Every kiss, every whisper, every I love you, I meant them all. She turned away, the ache in her chest unbearable. I need to go. I can't let you walk out like this, he said, voice breaking. Please, don't leave thinking you were just some part of a plan. You were never the plan, Elena. You were the change. But she was already pulling her suitcase out of the closet. I was forced into this marriage. I didn't choose it. And you? She looked at him, hurt cutting through her voice. You made it worse. Julian reached for her hand, but she pulled away. Don't. Just don't. The ride to the airport was silent. He didn't follow. She didn't look back. A day later, Elena sat in her childhood bedroom back in New York, trying to make sense of everything. Her heart hurt like it had been dropped and shattered. But what stunned most was knowing that somewhere deep inside, she still loved him. Despite everything. A knock came at the door. Elena? Her mother called gently. There's someone here, says he flew across the country for you. She froze, then slowly walked to the door and opened it. Julian stood there, no cane, no pretense, just him holding a small velvet box. Elena Carter, he said, voice raw and earnest. I don't want you to be anyone else, no lies, no disguises, just you. Will you give us a real chance? Her lips parted, but no words came. Her heart knew the answer, but her mind still wasn't sure. Elena didn't answer right away. She stood frozen in the doorway, staring at Julian as if he were a ghost from a life she wasn't sure she wanted to revisit. He looked different now. No cane, no sunglasses, no careful act. Just a man, stripped bare by the truth, holding a ring in shaking hands. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Then don't say anything yet, he replied gently. Just let me talk. She stepped aside silently, letting him into the small living room. The walls were lined with old family photos, faded by time, a quiet contrast to the whirlwind her life had become. Julian sat on the couch, the velvet box still in his palm. I planned everything wrong, he admitted. I thought I could control the story, expose your sister, win the game. But then you walked down the aisle and suddenly, none of that mattered. You were quiet, nervous, trembling, and I knew in my bones that you weren't Veronica. But I didn't care. For the first time in months, I felt peace. Elena sat across from him, arms crossed over her chest, trying to hold her heart together. I fell in love with you, Elena. Not the act, not the lie, you. The way you whispered to me in the dark. The way you described the ocean as if painting it with your voice. The way you laughed when you thought I couldn't hear you from the hallway. It wasn't fake for me. And I hoped maybe it wasn't fake for you either. She stared at the ring, simple, elegant, real. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She asked, voice cracking. Because I was afraid you'd leave, and losing you felt worse than living a lie." He took a breath, his eyes glassy now. "You were never meant to be part of the plan, but you became everything." Elena's throat tightened. She had spent days convincing herself that she hated him, that she was done. But the truth was, she missed him every second since she left. Missed his voice, his warmth, his arms around her at night. Missed the way he made her feel seen, even in the dark. "I thought you were the one lying," she whispered. "But we both were," he nodded slowly. "Then let's stop right now. No more pretending. I want to start over with you, the real you, Elena Carter." She bit her lip, tears welling. "You still want to marry me? After everything?" He smiled faintly. "More than ever. You didn't just heal my eyes, you healed my heart." She laughed softly through her tears. "That was corny." "I've been saving it for the right moment," he teased. A pause stretched between them. Then she stood, walked over to him, and took the velvet box from his hand. She opened it slowly, her eyes locking with his. "Then ask me again." Julian got down on one knee without hesitation. "Elena Carter, will you marry me? Not as my substitute bride, not as someone hiding behind a veil, but as the woman I love exactly as you are." Her heart swelled. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I will." They embraced, a long, soul-deep embrace that melted the walls between them. And this time when he kissed her, it wasn't an act. It was a promise. Months passed. They planned their real wedding together. No lies, no pressure, no mothers orchestrating anything. The ceremony was small, intimate, filled with people who loved them for who they truly were. Julian stood at the altar, eyes wide open, heart laid bare. And Elena walked toward him in a dress of her own choosing, smiling through tears of joy. Years later, they filled their home with laughter and love. 4 children and one on the way. Framed photos of beaches, birthday parties, messy kitchens, and bedtime stories lined the hallways. Julian never forgot what it meant to be blind, so he lived with eyes wide open, especially when looking at Elena. One afternoon, as the sun streamed into their nursery, Julian stood behind Elena, his hands resting gently on her round belly. Their 5-year-old twins ran past them giggling, their toddler tried to climb into a toy bin, and their 4th clutched a crayon masterpiece with pride. "Our 6th picture frame's going up next month," Elena said softly. Julian kissed her cheek. "And we'll finally be complete." "No more after this one, right?" she teased. He laughed. "Unless you want to start a soccer team." She turned in his arms, resting her forehead against his. "You're still a fool. Maybe, but I'm your fool, and that makes me the luckiest man alive." And in that simple, sun-drenched moment, Elena knew she had made the right choice. Not just in saying "I do," but in trusting that sometimes even a love born from lies can grow into something beautifully true. Life lesson from the story. Sometimes love doesn't arrive in a perfect package. It crashes into our lives wrapped in mistakes, misunderstandings, and messy truths. Elena and Julian's journey reminds us that the most meaningful relationships aren't built on flawless beginnings, but on the courage to forgive, to be vulnerable, and to love despite the scars. Both of them made mistakes. Both kept secrets. But in the end, it wasn't the lies that defined their future. It was their willingness to be honest, to grow, and to love each other for who they truly were. This story also teaches us about redemption. That even when we've been hurt, and even when we've hurt others, we can choose to move forward with compassion. Julian could have held on to his bitterness, Elena could have walked away forever, but they chose to face the truth, forgive the past, and build a new future together. Finally, this story is a reminder that love, real love, is not blind. It sees everything and still stays. It's not about perfection. It's about presence, patience, and the promise to stand by someone through every season of change. Where are you watching this from? We'd love to know where our audience is tuning in from. Don't forget to like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next heart-touching story. Thank you for being here with us. Until next time, take care and stay hopeful.